What is the Yu-Gi-Oh timeline between the animes? This has been hotly debated pretty much throughout the entire history of the franchise, but now that it's on at least a hiatus, if not an outright completion, I figured I'd give it a go and try and put it into all one solid timeline. I don't think anyone's going to argue that GX follows Duel Monsters and 5Ds follows GX. In GX, obviously, we have Duel Monsters characters showing up, and in 5Ds, well, there's little bits and pieces here and there. We also have the Bonds Beyond Time movie showing that, yeah, they're all in the same timeline. My theory is that the ending of 5Ds shows us how Synchros eventually caused the Mechlord genocide. Now, while Team 5Ds did alter this timeline and therefore create a new future, I feel that in the society where Synchros are known to have caused the downfall of the human race, that perhaps Synchros would have been avoided, which is why we don't see them in the next show, Yu-Gi-Oh! Zale. And in fact, all previous summoning types kind of have a air of danger around them. While we do see like one ritual and perhaps 2 or 3 fusions in the show, they still mostly shy away from it. After that, then I think we get Vrains. We do get some fusions, some rituals, some XEs, and also even a couple synchros sprinkled in there, but it's also mostly still focused on Link summoning. Then after that, I believe comes Arc 5. Now the reason I think that we don't see Link summoning in Arc 5 is simply because Link summoning was essential only to link Vrains, and when you aren't dueling in that VR, like say Soltech just went under, or they just updated the system software and they don't make links anymore, links are just gone and no one cares to use them anymore. And then obviously with the story of Arc 5, we have the timeline splitting into 4 and then converging back into only being 1 at the end. So it is a closed loop at the end of the day. Then I believe after that comes Yu-Gi-Oh! 7s. Now, Yu-Gi-Oh! 7s begins with creating rush duels, which are a simpler form of the game for children and to bring the game back to kids, which is why I believe it doesn't really matter about any of the previous summoning types or any of the previous kind of events because they're starting new, they're starting fresh. But here's what I really think. At the end of Yu-Gi-Oh! 7s, the protagonist goes back in time to Yu-Gi-Oh! Go Rush. Now, I believe that this back in time means he goes all the way before Duel Monsters. Now, some of the stuff that shows up in Go Rush, especially just the citizens of Mutsuba Town and the technology level that they're having, personally, I think it gives the vibe of the 1980s. Now, to be fair, I'm not an expert on what the 1980s in a rural Japanese town looked like, but it seems like that to me. And even before that, near the end of the show, they even go back further in time, all the way to the Sengoku era, and introduce rush duels there. So I believe what happened was that Yugioh went back in time, which caused the events of Go Rush, and even then further in time, all the way back to the Sengoku era, introducing the concept of Yu-Gi-Oh! And Duel Monsters and rush duels way before, 500 years ago, into that era. And then we do know that it does still lead into the world of Yu-Gi-Oh! 7s, because in the final duel of Go Rush, we see a flash forward to the Yu-Gi-Oh! 7s, and we see we see Yuga, Luke, Roman, all just hanging out, having a time and being together. So it does still lead to that world at least existing. So I believe that somehow, even though all the events of Go Rush happen, it still more or less leads into all the rest of the shows happening as in one closed loop, with the only difference being there at the end of Yu-Gi-Oh! 7, Yuga's able to enjoy a happy life with his friends instead of being sent back to the past again. So that's how I think all 8 anime fit together with a weird timeline, time travel thing, because we know that time travel did happen, it explicitly happens in Go Rush. We just don't know how far back Go Rush is and how it ties in. But I believe that it all does tie in. I mean, we do see Jack's D-Wheel in that museum in Yu-Gi-Oh! 7s, so that's my take. If you guys have any thoughts on what your timeline theories are, let me know down in the comments below. I'm always excited to hear what other people think their timelines are for Yu-Gi-Oh!